If you've not heard, there is speculation that Victoria Beckham, a.k.a. Posh Spice, does not get along with her billionaire heiress daughter-in-law, Nicola.
That's right. Victoria and David's son, Brooklyn Beckham, the eldest, confirmed those rumors recently on Instagram, saying his family tried to sabotage his relationship with his wife, pointing to an incident when his mother danced with him inappropriately at their wedding in 2022. What? Brooklyn said it was uncomfortable, humiliating, ended the statement saying he does not want to reconcile.
Wow. So yesterday, Brooklyn's dad, David Beckham, he spoke to the media saying that his kids have made mistakes on social media. So what's really going on? Why is this such a thing? And why is it such a common story? Friend of the show, Dr. Jeff Gardere, is here to break down all the emotional shifts and the boundaries and the growing pains that surface when new families come together on their own. And Dr. Jeff, right before we started, you described this as the story that
nobody really cares about, but we're really sort of interested in.
Everybody's talking about, but everybody doesn't care about.
Rich little family.
Right. So what's going on here? What do you think? Bottom line, what's going on between the Beckhams?
I think it's exactly what you're saying. It's a classic shift in what we see in these relationships, family relationships. When it comes to adults, as we know, with the parents, they have this thing called primary emotional authority. They set the culture, they set the tone for the family, so that when the kids grow up and they want to go out and get married, they want their own primary emotional authority, so they set boundaries, and most of us are able to negotiate the boundaries. But when you have a family where it's so tight-knit and there is a lot of control there, those boundaries for the parents can feel like abandonment, and for the new family, the kids who get married, it feels like individuation or freedom. So now you bring in business, family, a media empire, and something that should be more of emotional privacy and working it out now becomes more of a public relations nightmare.
Right. And that's the part, the PR nightmare, because I can't speak on behalf of every Latino family. I will say, when you're married in a Latino family and the matriarch is there, she wants to put her stamp on something, and it is very much a power dynamic. We talked about, you asked this morning, where's the video of Posh? It will never be released. Everyone at that wedding signs an NDA. But how can we at home, because this doesn't happen just to stars. It may not happen writ large, but for folks watching at home, how do you even deal with this?
Well, first and foremost, understand that that power dynamic is not such a bad thing. I mean, when we're talking about a mother and a son, or a mother and a daughter, but especially a mother and a son, we know there's that very, very, very close bond. So now mom is going to be, if you would like to say, replaced by another woman. So understand how she may feel about that and approach it in a more gingerly way, instead of, goodbye, mom, more of, mom, what do you think? How can we work this out? So negotiating those boundaries.
So I'm a son who is very close to his mom. My mom and I very, very close. How does a son balance that loyalty? Thank heavens my wife and my mom get along brilliantly, but I can see a scenario where they wouldn't. How do you stay close to the mom, but then also, I mean, you want to be a devoted husband. You want to be a devoted partner.
And I would say directly to you and every other son, never allow yourself to be placed in a position of choosing between your mom and your spouse. It really should be your spouse is your primary person, but of course, you always have a tie to your mom and will always be there to assist her. So it can be equal, but you do have to understand that your spouse is the primary. That is your new family. That is where you have your primary emotional authority that you can exercise together.
So we talked about parent to child. What about the husband and wife who are watching their child get married, and the husband and wife, or the husband and husband, wife and wife, the two partners are not in lockstep?
Well, I think it's really a situation of where there has to be this open communication and acknowledging that there are going to be conflicts. And how do we work through the conflicts? One of the things that you don't want to do, and what seems to be happening with the Beckhams, all of these third parties getting involved. What it is that you should and shouldn't do, and let me take your advice and that advice. Look, you are the primary family, the nuclear family. Sit down and talk about what those conflicts would be and how do you work them out, and knowing that you can agree to disagree. It's hard to let go of your children, but at the same time, you have to deal with that pain. No pain, no gain. Or in my case, no pain, Rogaine. But don't get me started.
So what is if you need a bit of an emotional reset, other than keeping it out of the public eye, how do you do that? What's the healthiest way to have these conversations in a family?
I think it's really about sitting together, prioritizing what it is that you feel that you need as a young couple or as a couple to move forward in your life. How do you maintain the ties to the original family? How do you go back and forth through the boundaries and then be able to exercise that by trying it out? But also knowing that when there are disagreements, instead of talking about it to someone else or making it gossip, sitting together. And I think for the Beckhams, they will work this out, of course. All of it will work out to their benefit,
Their business is in the street, so now they have to...
It's the publicity. It'll work out. But I think at the end of the day, they'll need to push everyone out, work it out together, and then come out and talk about how they were able to get the family to
get to the other side.
How they had the happy ending.
Dr. Jeff, thank you. Always good advice.
My pleasure.
Always good advice.
If you want more of his great advice, follow Dr. Jeff on Instagram at Dr. Jeff Gardere.